Hello and welcome back to Smash Hit Sports. Week 3 of college football has come and gone. It was really good. It's a damn good week. We have a lot to talk about. Week 4, when I look at that, I feel things in places that I don't think I should feel things when I talk about college football, but god damn it, is it beautiful. This might be, going into it, this might be one of the best slates of football we've seen in like 3 or 4 years. It's legitimately incredible.
This is fantastic, and we were talking about it last week. We have conference play is here, and this is what normally happens. You just get these crazy games. Obviously, Notre Dame, Ohio State, there are a couple games that are straggling, but yeah, full slate of amazing games. Like, this is the week where it's like, sorry, I actually can't do anything on Saturday. Like, genuinely, don't invite me over. We're not going to the bars. I am busy.
Yep, 100%. I put a video out on my TikTok, on my TikTok. My wife had asked me like, "Hey, what is so great about this weekend?" And it's just me going on like a rant about how all these games are so damn good, rant. Dude.
I think I saw it. And this is the other thing is that I went down to Clemson this past weekend and spontaneously was like, you know what, fuck it, I might not make it back down there, so I went to the game. Was tailgating all day. Like, I didn't get to see anything about any game. I love watching Florida, Tennessee. It's one of my favorite games every year. I didn't get to watch any of it. Florida State struggled. Everyone was freaking out. I didn't get to see any of that. I just got to watch Clemson play, which was awesome. I am totally back. But, yeah, I didn't get to see any college football. So, like, it's a good week to miss, kind of. But now I'm even yearning for it so much more.
Yep, you know? And I got to go to Notre Dame Central Michigan, and college football is best experienced in person. It's an in-person event because you have the tailgating and the theatrics of college football. It's what makes it so incredible. And
it just sucks when you can't watch the other games.
Yeah.
Like, if you went to Notre Dame, Ohio State, let's just say you went to that game, you'd be missing like an incredible slate. You'd probably be able to watch the noon games, but you wouldn't be able to see Ole Miss, Bama, Penn State play, Oregon State, Washington State, a bunch of these games that I would hate to miss.
Yeah. No, it really would be like awful to miss.
So this is a stay on your couch. Or if you are just a die-hard fan of one of these teams, you can download SeatGeek, right?
Yeah, SeatGeek, promo code SmashHitSports, get your ass to the game, $20 off your first purchase. So absolutely go and do that, because some of these games, like I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for that SeatGeek code, I could not afford to go to Notre Dame, Ohio State, but it is what it is. We need to get... Hey, like the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the videos, help us, so we can get paid to do this shit. That being said, let's talk week 3, because we got to set the scene for week 4. And let's start with Colorado, because they're obviously the biggest story in college football right now. It's having Lil Wayne intro your team is just fucking insane. They won one game last year, and they had Lil Tunchi, intro them. That is fucking bananas, dude.
Yeah, it felt like UFC, a boxing walkout kind of vibe. I was just like, this is nuts, just to watch.
It was bonkers. And then a 10:30 kickoff, you want to talk about Pac-12 after dark.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Dude, double overtime. I was like, holy shit. I was fried, dude. I was toast.
Yeah.
It was insane. So, okay, let's talk about the game. First off, Colorado came into that game as 28-point favorite. Colorado State, you had this team, you talked all this shit all week, and then you had them on the ropes, and you had the opportunity to put them away.
Yep, go for 2.
Why didn't they?
I don't know.
That was such a bullshit move. That was the biggest cop-out move of the whole night. You had a chance. You fought and you punched all night.
I was shocked. It was in the first overtime, for context, for people that didn't stay up that late. But Colorado got the ball first, scored a touchdown. Colorado State scores a touchdown. All they have to do to be like a plus 10,000 underdog winner, like a huge upset, right? All they have to do is go for two. I think every Colorado State fan, the assistant coaches even, were probably like, we're going to go for two. We're going to do it. Like the players are like, and the coach is like, no, we're just going to, we'll play for double overtime. And of course they don't win because they are the worst team. And that's why you go for two in that situation. And then Colorado storms the field, and that is causing so much controversy.
So here's the thing.
What's your thought? Like, is it like
let
them have fun or what?
There are levels to college football, right? Just like there are levels to storming the field. If Alabama beats a 28-point favorite and storms the field, they're a bunch of fucking losers. Like that. They would never do it. That is unacceptable.
They would never do it.
Colorado won one goddamn game last year. They just had College Game Day. These kids are drunk off their ass. Lil Wayne just introed them. The Rock is on the sidelines along with like a bunch of different rappers. Fucking Kawhi Leonard was there. Like, this is the most pub Colorado has and maybe ever will have. Storm the field. Yeah. Who gives a shit, man? You know how lit Boulder was that night?
Like, I feel like all the people that went to the game are like, you know, hammered, riding this high that like, oh my God, my school is finally good at football, and like they win, they probably go out, they're drunk, having like one of the best nights of their lives. They had game day, they never have game day.
Yep.
Like they're probably looking back, it's like that was one of the best days ever of my entire life.
Yep.
And then they go on Twitter right before bed and see like, oh, you're not allowed to storm when you're 24-point favorite, 28-point favorite, and they're like, oh, bummer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why ruin their fun? They should absolutely be allowed to do it.
Exactly. Now, should they storm the field if they beat Stanford at home October 13th? No. Right? Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But like that in that context, go for it, man. Who gives a shit? It's not like there
agree.
Are certain teams where like the peak of Colorado, like, yeah, they have won a national championship before and more recently than Notre Dame has. But like, this isn't a program that competes every single year. Like if this team makes a bowl game, that's a hell of a season. Like let's not get it's unlike the NFL where every team is trying to win a Super Bowl. Like sometimes it's just great to win a damn football game and they won a damn football game. So
right. Yeah. Like ignoring the spread, it's also, you know, a rivalry game.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of drama going into it. So it kind of was like, fuck you, Colorado State, we're storming the field. But my other thing is like Clemson, we don't necessarily storm the field, but we meet every single game. Everyone, like, they kind of sometimes take their sweet time to get down there, but eventually they get down and everyone's in the middle of the field singing the alma mater. And I love that. And a lot of the times Clemson gets a ton of shit. Like, you just stormed against Austin Peay. What are you doing? It's like, well, we're not storming. Obviously,
that's
Colorado
tradition.
That's But like, if Colorado kind of does it again against Stanford, but you know, we're not looking at the TV as like oh my God, what a huge moment. They're kind of just making their way to the field. I'm not going to judge them. I'm seriously just going to be like, they're having a great time. This is a great season. If they want to storm every game, so be it. I get it. You know, I think the urgency is the difference for me. You can't treat it like you just beat Alabama. You have to treat it like you beat Stanford. So
fair. What are your thoughts on the hit that guy had against Travis Hunter? Obviously, it sent him to the hospital, lacerated his liver. Like, it sucks. Travis Hunter will be fine. But this kid's getting death threats. Like, what the fuck are we doing, college football fans?
That's another point of controversy. And I think it's the same type of people that are like, don't storm the court, or the same people that are like, that guy should be banned from college football forever. Like, it's the extremists that are just like,
take away his scholarship. It's like, what the fuck?
It's so annoying because, like, was that the player's intent to, like, fucking send him to the hospital? Of course not. Use logic, right? Maybe, he wanted to put, like, a little fear in him. Ed Reed used to do that all the time. He would say, like, let's go hit the fuck out of that guy so that he's scared, you know? And then like that's just football. It's tragic. It ended up being an injury to like one of Colorado's best players, but no, he shouldn't be like really punished that much more than anyone else in that sense.
Honestly, like it in my mind, like that's what targeting should be, and then like you 15-yard penalty, kick him out of the game, whatever, and that's it. Like that's and we're done with it, and then we're not talking about it. But it is what it is. People, I think we're getting a lot of people talking about Colorado who don't watch a lot of college football, and I think that's where a lot of these
or just people that are annoyed at like the show, the showmanship of it. But I mean, like Vontaze Burfict, for instance, in the NFL, I'm pretty sure he like gave Antonio Brown CTE. He's probably like ruined careers, and he like, he got to keep playing. Yeah, and he was like evil.
Fun fact. I have a signed Vontaze Burfict jersey in my basement.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's you can only really wear that in Cincinnati, I think. That's one of those type of jerseys.
I don't wear it. That one stays on the wall.
Exactly.
We let that one be.
A lot of people hate that guy, so keep that one in. I have a Ray Rice jersey still, so
nice.
There's your I don't really wear that much either.
Love
for
it.
Obvious reasons.
Oh shit. Let's talk about you mentioned the Tennessee-Florida game earlier. Florida beat Tennessee. Tennessee looked disgusting. It looked terrible. Josh Heupel called that bullshit candy-ass timeout at the end of the game that basically led to a fight. Like, the two dudes squaring up is just one of the funnier, like, fucking images of college football. Like,
linemen, like,
when you have the whatever the college football version of what's a song they play at the end of college basketball season every year? Fuck.
One shining moment.
One shining moment. If college football had a one shining moment, that like 4 or 5 seconds should be in the one shining moment clip because that's just peak college football. But Tennessee's very much
As far as like I watched the highlights and Tennessee looked really bad. I think we were kind of expecting it deep down, right? Just because like they struggled against it was either like UT Martin or Austin P. I forget who it was, but
Austin P.
They looked really bad, and Florida kind of just handed it to them. Trevor Etienne, my boy, looked amazing. Florida actually looked like competent. I know we were talking in July. We were like, Florida's probably not going to make a bowl. That's my biggest takeaway is like, whoa, like they actually look like a team.
So you said Florida looked competent. How does this change how you look at this Florida Gators team?
Yeah, I would say so. Considering before the season, I would have said like they'd be lucky to go 6-6, 7-5. Now I think that's definitely in the ballpark. Especially just the SEC is not as good as we thought it was going to be. So, like, I just think, Florida, I think I'm willing to say guaranteed they make a bowl at this point, I'm
going to be honest. I think this game said a lot more about Tennessee than it did about Florida. I still, like, Graham Mertz through 3 games still has 3 touchdowns. And, like, I had people in my comments section being like, yo, you need to put respect on Graham Mertz's name. No, I don't. Like, what do you mean? Caleb Williams has had 3 touchdowns in, like, 3 different quarters this year. What do you mean?
Graham Mertz doesn't deserve any respect. No. He's not, like, bad.
No.
But, like, what are you talking about? Like, tip your cap to Graham Mertz. Like, for what?
Florida's offensive line bullied them. They played well, and, like, they did what they needed to do. But, like, that's not going to work against Georgia or Alabama. Like,
I do think Florida's run game looked like they like woke up to the point where I think they could carry him a little bit. And then when you have a game manager at quarterback and a pretty decent defense, you could do like I think Florida's better than I thought they were going to be for sure. But that's fair. I probably agree that Tennessee how far they just fell from winning the Orange Bowl to Joe Milton's a Heisman candidate to like, I think I had them in my CFP in week 2 because they handled their week 1 opponent. And I was like, Tennessee, man, they're going to be good. And then boom, all of a sudden, I don't even think they should be ranked.
Yeah, it turns out their week 1 opponent, Virginia, is also very bad at football. So
right, yeah.
But the scape of college football, like the landscape of college football as a whole, is really interesting because right now there's not a team that like really stands out. Like I think Texas has the best individual win against Alabama, but like. Right. They turned it on against Wyoming at the end, but you called that to a T last week, saying that they were going to sleepwalk. They did. They woke 100%. Up and they were fine, but like they absolutely sleptwalk at the beginning of that week. Like Michigan was all right against Bowling Green. They did what they needed to do. Georgia was down at halftime to South Carolina. Like
not surprised by that at all.
Florida State won by 2 against Boston College. That stunned me because I thought
terrible.
Boston College was going to roll over and die. And then
it was the red bandana game,
yeah,
which I know is like a big deal. But Clemson played Boston College in the red bandana game last year, won 45-6. You know what I mean? Like that should not be your excuse. But I guess Florida State just looks terrible defensively.
Yeah, I think that entire top 5 was like right now, how confident do you feel like saying that you could pick like a national champion? I don't at all. Like there's not one team that has looked definitively better than like the rest outside of maybe Penn State.
What about Washington?
Washington is okay. That's fair. Washington has looked so fucking good, dude.
Washington, good. This is my problem with like preseason rankings and whatnot. Is it doesn't allow these teams to like really move. Like, why can't Washington right now be ahead of Michigan?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, what has Michigan done that's been better than Washington? Like, nothing. But because Michigan was ranked 2 and hasn't lost, of course they're not going to fall from 2.
Yep.
But like, I do my own rankings. I have Washington ahead of Michigan for sure. I also definitely think Texas. It helps that we were kind of expecting them to sleepwalk a little bit, and Wyoming was an underrated team.
Yeah,
but like that game didn't worry me, and then they did beat Alabama on the road. I like that Texas team still. I also like USC. I don't care. I've said it before. I'm riding with them. Their defense.
No defense, no problem.
That's not going to be a problem. They're dominant. And so those are the 3 teams that have impressed me the most. Ohio State finally looks like they woke up a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
And then there's Penn State and Notre Dame, who have like some pretty dominant performances. Like, I just feel like we're looking at the top 5 and we're saying, like, well, they look shaky. Like, who's going to win? I just think the top 5 shouldn't be what the top 5 is. But it's the problem with the poll. It's the problem with the polling system.
That's fair. If I were to pick, and maybe this is like semantics bullshit, my top 25 and what my college football playoff would be right now are not the same. Because my top 25, like, I base like what my thoughts are on the team. My college football playoff picks would just be, what have you done? Your resume explicitly, and that's where I would put like the Washingtons and the Texases and the like, because like Georgia wouldn't be in my college football playoff because they haven't played anybody, right? But that's not saying that Georgia isn't a top 4 team. It's just they haven't shown it. So
Georgia's different just because it's like 20-game win streak.
Yeah,
and they haven't been like dethroned. Like, I get having Georgia where they are, but teams like, it's really like the Michigans and the who else is up there, like Ohio State and teams that just haven't really done anything for me.
Yep. Let's talk about one more individual team. Bama has a quarterback problem.
Yeah, it's not
bad.
Even a problem.
I think bad.
A problem, I think, implies a solution, right? Like, I think they just straight up don't have one. There's nothing they can do about it. Like, they just are going to have to deal with bad quarterback play all year. I'm excited to talk about that game against Ole Miss because I'll go kind of on an Alabama rant. But what do you think they're going to do?
I think Jalen Milroe is the best quarterback on that team. I have watched when we talked about Alabama in our SEC preview, I said it then and I'll say it again. I have watched enough Tyler Buchner play football to know that Tyler Buchner has never been, will never be the answer. Like, I've seen what he can do. He's not a high-end college football quarterback. I think Jalen Milroe gives them the best chance to win. I think they do end up dropping like a game to LSU or Texas A&M or Tennessee. Like, I don't think that they're going to be a one-loss team that heads into, into the SEC championship with a chance at the college football playoff. I just don't. Really, truly, I don't think anybody in the SEC West has a chance at the college football playoff.
Yeah, which is crazy. LSU definitely looked fucking sick against Mississippi State.
Yep.
But we'll have to see this week whether that's Mississippi State is just way worse than we thought, or if LSU kind of just like we could chalk up that Florida State loss to week one nonsense. Because, I mean, again, I do think LSU's good. They're I think they're still probably overrated in the rankings, but they're not bad. Alabama, the way I see it now is I think they actually are going to lose to Ole Miss. And then and then win out, just because like that feels like that would be the biggest wake up call of all time for all of those players to just be like, oh, we lost to Texas, struggled against a terrible USF team, and then lost at home again to Ole Miss. And now we have 2 losses. We're like 2-2 on the year. What the fuck? And then Saban, and they like have so much talent that they're just like, no, we're not letting this happen. And by the end of the year, they're 10-2. That's what I'm seeing in my brain when I close my eyes. And for that reason, we'll get to that game later. But I am gonna ride with Ole Miss.
Fair enough. Other quick
Ole
notes.
Miss has also impressed me, TBH, but we'll get to that game later.
Yeah. Other quick notes. The Pac-12 has 8 3-0 teams and only 2 teams under 500. They have been so good. It's the best football in the country right now, both from a most exciting to watch standpoint and then just actually like it has been the best football. Like, there are undefeated teams elsewhere, but they've been incredible. Lights out.
I know. And it sucks because like we're going to start seeing them beat each other up. And by week 8, week 9, I don't think we're going to be able to say, like, oh, look at Pac-12, look at all these teams' records, because they're just going to beat each other. But just remember the non-conference and how dominant they were, because you'll have like a team like Colorado who's maybe like 5-3, and it's like, oh, they're middle of the pack in the Pac-12, but you go put them up against like some other team in some other conference that's like 8-2, Colorado might easily win that game, Yep. That's how good the Pac-12 has been.
Yeah, it's been incredible. So let's take a look at, basketball schools. This statistic is insane. I'm going to have to like make a graphic for this, tweet it out, whatever. Kentucky, Duke, UCLA, North Carolina, Syracuse, and Kansas. A combined 18-0. Basketball, baby. Basketball schools.
Yeah, that's nuts. Because, it's like being a Clemson guy, I always was like, you know what? I want basketball so bad. I wish I could have both. But you just can't have both. And that's why, Kansas is shit at football. That's why Kentucky's shit at football. And now they're all undefeated. So it's annoying. But it won't last, obviously. It's just a cool stat for right now. Out of those teams, though, who do you think will end up with the best record?
I'm gonna stick with my preseason prediction here. I'm gonna stick with UCLA. Dante Moore's looked good, even though the Pac-12 looks incredible. I think that UCLA really does have a shot to make some noise. I had Syracuse at 9-3 too. I don't think they're out of the way to like make noise in the ACC. Like, they have looked very good.
Amazing. I think that was actually like, that's one of my biggest misses so far. I'm like already chalking it up as a miss. I think I had them going like maybe 5-7. We'd have to look at the archives, but I definitely didn't have Syracuse being good. They are good. They could go 9-3 easily.
Yeah. Their quarterback,
honestly,
that play fake.
Yeah, no,
that play
crazy.
fake was disgusting, dude. And he did it twice in the game. He did it late to ice it, then for the touchdown. Oh, it's
Their
incredible.
offense looks amazing. They're like, they, in my opinion, should be ranked right now over a team like Iowa. Iowa being ranked is so lame. They had to have done that for the whiteout or something.
Like, I think so.
But then Clemson doesn't get ranked, so whatever. But
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but that's cool. Cool stat.
Yep. Do you want to do we want to go through our record for last week, or should we just like ignore it? Do you want to talk?
Well, we'll just go through the fact that I went 8-4. You went 7-5. We differed. That's over 500. And I remember last time I posted it, someone commented like, "Why would I tail you guys when you're like above 500?"
That fucking ass clown, dude.
And it's like, well, listen, we are picking and choosing games here.
Yeah.
That are like kind of subjectively close. Like we're not putting on like Texas, Wyoming wasn't on here, right? Like like games like that aren't on here. We have games that are like either team could win, and that is hard to get over 50% of those right. So I actually think we're both doing pretty well. You went bold with Mississippi State. That was probably the biggest miss for you. Pitt, West Virginia, I didn't even put any thought into it. I don't feel bad about missing that one. We both missed Arkansas, BYU, sneaky good.
Yeah, sneaky
good. I don't think we realized that.
People picked them to be last in the Big 12 this year. Like that's they've shown out.
But yeah, they did. And Arkansas just looks like not that great. But Missouri kind of shocked Kansas State. I was not expecting that at all. And then I had South Alabama over Oklahoma State. I feel great about it. And then we both missed Tennessee over Florida, which I think we both kind of didn't really want to pick Tennessee anyway. But just for the graphic, we did. So, again, I don't feel that bad. We're both over 500. And we'll see how we do this week.
Yep. So let's look at the week 3 slate. Nick, if you could go to any of these games in person, I mean, because there's just an incredible slate of games here, and I'm not going to let you pick Clemson. If you could go to any of these games, because duh. But if you could go to any of these games here, which one would you go to?
I think I'd go to Penn State. That's, maybe a little bit of a cop-out answer because it is whiteout. Like, I don't care about watching the game per se, but I would love to experience that energy and that atmosphere. So, yeah, if someone was like, magic wish, you get to pick one and get transported there, like, on Saturday, I would pick that just to experience it. Yeah. And then I'd probably leave and go watch the rest of the slate because I don't want to miss anything.
That's fair. The whiteout is incredible. You can get into that game for $165 on SeatGeek, but if you use promo code SmashHitsSports, you get $20 off your first purchase. The game that I would go to, I'm not going to pick the whiteout, probably would, but we can't pick the same one. I'm going to pick Alabama Ole Miss. Fun fact, you can get tickets into that game for $55.
Alabama, man. They're losing interest this year.
It's great, crazy. Well,
they've been spoiled.
Bro, after that USF performance, I wouldn't want to subject myself to watching that offense either. But
I've experienced that with Clemson the past 2 years too, so I get it. But yeah, that's just what happens when you're spoiled and you're like that's a ranked home matchup, the 3:30 CBS game, Alabama. That shouldn't be cheap. No, it should not be $55. But let's get into the must-watch games. You have a sneaky good game here listed on the Friday night slate, 7:30, which is that 7:30? No, 10:30 Friday night. Yeah. So you go out to the bars, you come back and watch this game. Air Force at San Jose State. That should be a fun one. Yeah, the spread's basically like a pick'em, I think.
Yep.
It depends where you're placing your bets, but yeah, Air Force got a couple votes on the AP poll. Oh, I have low battery. Air Force got a couple votes on the AP poll. San Jose State, I think, is a slight favorite. They're really good. Both good offenses. Should be fun. A little Mountain West action.
Yep, that'll be a good game. The other game there's a game Thursday night that I think is interesting. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. So if you're itching for some, I know we got Thursday night NFL football, right? But if you're itching for some college football, I think that one could be fun too. The Saturday slate, though, well, I guess Friday also has Wisconsin Purdue. So if you're a Big Ten slut like I am,
Big Ten West fan,
yeah, people really dialed in.
Let me get my charger real quick, Cody. I need to.
Yeah,
I feel like my phone's being.
So the Saturday noon slate is incredible, and it starts with what I thought would be a ranked matchup. Turns out it's not. But let's talk about your squad for a little bit. Florida State has to go into Death Valley. This game, Clemson opened at +1.5. I think it's now to +2.5. Over-unders 54. Should be a phenomenal game. I mean, this game's going to be incredible. Yeah,
I think it helps my psyche to see Florida State look kind of human. They were meeting their expectations and then some these first couple weeks of the year. You know, outscoring their opponents by a ton, just offense looked dynamic, defense looked great. And then they play Boston College. Like, I guarantee Clemson versus Boston College, I don't even know if we play, but if we did, we'd win by more than 2. Home or away, red bandana, doesn't matter.
Wow, what a bold prediction.
Yeah, I know. But, like, I guarantee it. So, like, but that just goes to show that, you know, all the people out there saying, well, Florida State's going to manhandle Clemson, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this spread is basically a pick 'em for a reason. This should be a very, very, very good game. I love that we're at home. Again, I do think we said it before. This is a chip on your shoulder game for Clemson. This is where I expect to see the maximum effort and everything. And the only thing that makes me worried is I still don't trust us not to be fucking stupid, you know? Like the Duke game and then a couple times last season, and just in general, I feel like we've just been stupid and losing in stupid, dumb ways rather than just going out and getting straight up beat. And so I'm like afraid that we might play really well, but then just like be incompetent in the red zone or miss field goals and, you know, have turnovers here and there that are just inexcusable, and then we end up losing, and then people are like, Clemson's done, where it's like, but we played well, you know, damn it. Like, yeah. That's my fear, is that we actually look better than Florida State, but still lose. I can't have that happen.
Yeah, this is absolutely a backs against the wall kind of game. In the ACC, where they've finally eliminated divisions and used their brains a little bit, that would give Clemson 2 conference losses, which is not ideal if you're trying to make it to the ACC championship game, especially with how Duke has looked, with how North Carolina has looked, with how Syracuse has looked. Miami, right? Like, there have been a lot of teams that have looked great up to this point. You really want to avoid that second conference loss. I think Clemson has their back against the wall. That's part of the reason why I am picking them to win this game. The second reason, they at home are unbelievable. Since 2020, Clemson is 20-1 at home. It is the second best home winning percentage in the country. The only team better than that, the back-to-back national champion Georgia Bulldogs. There is nobody better at home than that. Than Clemson.
That one loss was to South Carolina at the end of last year.
Yep.
But before that, I'm pretty sure that Clemson, I think, set the record for most straight home wins in a row.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I can't remember the number, but my gut, like my instinct is telling me it was like in the 40s, just in a row, one. And I know that when I was at Clemson, I didn't witness a home loss. I think the last one before South Carolina was Pitt in 2016. So if you could just do the math from 2016 to 2022, never losing at home, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. I'm going to be honest. So
there have been some close calls, right? Like that Louisville game with Lamar Jackson, Notre Dame. But yeah, it's you know, like I love that Clemson is home with back against the wall, chip on your shoulder. You know, like that Clemson still thinks that they are. Like Clemson's not looking at themselves and saying, "Well, we're an unranked team." Like they're like fueled by this kind of like, wow, we are unranked. Everyone thinks Florida State's going to whoop us. And I'm nervous, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm nervous.
Yeah, it should be a great game. The other thing, the interesting stat, I guess, so the kicker situation at Clemson. Are you familiar with what is going on with the kicker situation at Clemson right now?
Well, yeah, I know Robert Gunn is a true freshman and has looked quite awful. I think we might be holding open tryouts.
So what Clemson is doing, there is a guy who was on Clemson's roster the last couple of years as a backup kicker, right? I think he only had 3 attempts in his entire career. He graduated and got a job up in New York doing finance bro bullshit, right? Starts here soon. Here's the thing. He is still taking a master's course through the University of Clemson.
No
Dabo reached out, gave him a call, okay? This kid picks up the phone, says, yeah, let me go kick a couple balls, see if I still got it. Goes out to his backyard, kicks a couple balls. Turns out, kid still got it. So he is coming in to be the starting kicker playing the number 4 team in the country after accepting some sort of Wall Street big shot job. He said, fuck it. I'm back. I'm not leaving.
That is so
It's an incredible story. Incredible.
That is so sick. I definitely didn't know that. Dude, that's unreal. Imagine getting like a nice job up in New York and then just being like, all right, I'm just going to stop doing that, go not get paid. You know, really, he's probably getting some incentive, but yeah, and just like that's love for your school. That's Clemson family right there. Like everyone that goes to Clemson and is a part of that school, ride or die, man. Like that's fucking awesome. That juices me up.
Yeah, shout out Jonathan Whites. Jonathan Whites is the dude's name. Just a baller.
So crazy, dude. I remember saying I was with like some people watching the Florida Atlantic game, and our other kicker like missed an extra point. And we were like, oh my god, like this is just catastrophic. What are we gonna do? And they were like, we need to go get someone. It's like, well, there's no like college free agency. They're like, who we have is who we have. We can't just go get someone. And they were like, yeah, that's right. But it turns out,
wrong. We actually went and got someone
off the streets.
Yep. But because he was still technically a Clemson student, he still had eligibility and can play.
That's sick, dude. I can't. Yeah. Wow. I cannot wait to hear what the announcers have to say about that and all that. That's gonna be great.
Yep, for sure. So I'm picking Clemson. Are you picking Clemson as well?
I am gonna pick Clemson. Yeah. Okay. I had it before the season. And again, before the season, I said Clemson was going to lose like a weird one, you know?
Hey, they got it out of the way.
I've said that, so I didn't think it would be to Duke, but if it was, like I'm still riding with my prediction that I didn't think Clemson was going to look great in all 12 games in the regular season. I knew that wasn't going to be the case. And maybe it was just week 1 that it happened this year. Maybe. So,
yep.
Hopefully I'm right.
So, an SEC matchup in the noon slate that is going to be pretty damn exciting. Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 7-point favorite. Over-under is 52.5. This will be Auburn gets a Hugh Freeze reintroduction into the SEC. Texas A&M kind of gets to prove it a little bit whether they are legit. I ranked them in my top 25 this week. I think they're still very good. I think they lost to a good Miami team. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Miami ends up in the top 15 at some point. Like I think Texas A&M's legit, and I think they dominate this game handedly.
Yeah, I like Texas A&M in this one, kind of for the same reasons. I do think Auburn is doing a little better than I thought. I thought they were going to sort of be in a like need a year still situation, which not to say that they aren't, but like Cal was better than I expected them to be. Auburn still beat them on the road. Like I think Auburn will be able to like hold together and, you know, be competitive against teams. So I'm not expecting a blowout per se, but yeah, I got Texas A&M. You know.
Yep.
Probably covers.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M wins and covers. 19 Colorado at 10 Oregon. The line opened at 20.5. It has now moved to 21 in favor of Oregon. The over-under on this game, 72.5. I mean,
yeah, that's
fireworks. Fireworks.
Yeah. I hope the over hits. I don't think I'm going to touch the over, though, because I can see a scenario, especially with no Travis Hunter, right? I can see a scenario where Oregon smacks them. Like,
yep.
I can see it where it's like, wow, like Colorado was playing these non-Pac-12 teams, but it turns out the Pac-12 is just that much better than all these other conferences this year, and Oregon wins like 52-10, and it's like, holy shit. So. Yeah, I think it might not be as good of a game as people think. That's my take. And I do think Oregon wins.
Yeah, Oregon absolutely wins this game. I don't know about covers. We'll see. But, yeah, they absolutely win this game. A game, we're both on the same page with this next one, and I want to hear your logic behind it first. It's UCLA at Utah. Utah is a 5-point favorite. That number has since moved to 4.5. Over under of 51.5. Utah is great at home. We've seen that. We talked about it before they played Florida, and they showed exactly why. That being said, this Utah team still doesn't have Cam Rising yet, but he may come back this week, apparently. UCLA is game planning for both, according to Chip Kelly. He was interviewed earlier this week. How are you viewing this game? Do you think Cam Rising has a shot? Like, what's the vibe?
I'd be shocked if Cam Rising doesn't play. Again, I do have connections inside of Utah football and Utah University and whatnot, and they were saying that he was going to start last week, and then if not, like guaranteed to start against UCLA. I think there's a little ambiguity, almost to like play mind games, to kind of be like, you have to prepare for both. I do think it's going to be Rising. I wouldn't quote me on it. Obviously, I'm not talking to the freaking head coach, but my thing is that Cam Utah plays really well at night. I don't know if you've seen that stat.
Yeah, the Utah at night thing is when the sun goes down, shit gets nuts.
Yeah, like I think there's something to be said about that somehow, where they just get fired up. It's like in their brains, like night game, they're not going to lose. And this game's at 3:30, and UCLA's, like a really good team, probably the best team Utah's had to play so far. If Cam Rising plays, he's going to be like kind of rusty. I just like UCLA for those reasons.
I'm also taking UCLA. I think that this is one of the best coaching matchups of the day, because you get Chip Kelly against Utah, and it's going to be just an unbelievable game. I'm excited for it. I'm going to take UCLA money line, but that might be the best game of that 3:30 window, because I don't think Colorado, Oregon's going to be particularly close. Ole Miss, Alabama could be. Kansas, BYU could be. But that 3:30 time slot, that will be the TV that has the sound on, at least in my house.
Yeah, I feel like for me, Ole Miss, Alabama, like just to see like the SEC on CBS 3:30, just
fuck, that sound always hits.
I know, like I just need that in my bones, especially like we're getting like more of that crisp fall weather's kind of coming in.
Yep.
So I'm probably most excited for Ole Miss, Alabama, which is the next game we're talking about anyway. Alabama's -6.5. I think the way I view this game is a lot of people are going to be looking at it, and if you've watched college football for a while, you're saying like you want to bet Ole Miss so bad, but I guarantee almost nobody is going to be able to pull the trigger because it's Alabama at home.
Yep.
Coming off like a loss and a sluggish game. And it's like their first SEC game, and it's 3:30, and it's just like there's no way they lose. And I think it's sound logic. I'm not even judging you, but I personally think that this Alabama team is different and is actually not that good. I really do. And I think I already kind of mentioned it. Like Ole Miss, I think they're kind of a lot better than I was expecting them to be. We both kind of had them like 7-5 to end the year. But they played Georgia Tech, who I thought was going to cover. And Georgia Tech didn't even come close. Ole Miss beats Tulane, who's a good team. Even without the starting quarterback, Tulane's a really good team.
Yep.
I think Ole Miss is really legit, and they're just like the exact type of team that could go in and win, in my opinion. They have this, fiery head coach, and their Jackson Dart's looking really good. They have maybe the best running back in college football. So I'm just going to ride with it. But then I do think Alabama, they're going to get that wake-up call that they kind of need, and then they're going to coast sort of the rest of the year in a weaker SEC. But, yeah, this week, give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama. The last time Alabama lost 2 home games was like the 2000s in a season. I mean, it's insane. They're one of the best teams at home in the country. The last time they lost 2 games was 2019. I trust Saban -6.5. I don't know how great I feel about that. This game is split on the bets almost 50-50. I mean, you couldn't get closer than what it currently is.
On the spread or on the money line?
The spread.
Yes.
On the spread. Sense. The money line heavily favors Ole Miss, but
oh yeah, well that just because
that's
you bet
plus money. Yeah. So I'm excited for this game. I think it'll be a lot of fun, but I got to take Alabama. You don't get rich betting against Nick Saban. So I'm gonna take the Tide in this one.
Right, which I get it. I think that's sound logic.
A game that I think could mean a lot in the Big 12. An interesting line on it. BYU coming into Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas is an 8.5-point favorite. Over/unders 56. I'm taking Kansas in this game. I think Jalen Daniels has another, or Jaden Daniels. Is this Jaden or is this Jalen?
No, Jaylon. Jaylon is Kansas.
Jaylon. Okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels, I think, shows exactly why he has been one of the most exciting players in the country to watch. So give me Kansas -8.5 here against BYU.
Yeah, I actually think I'm on the other side. I do have Kansas winning, but as far as bets I like BYU +8.5. I just think BYU's getting disrespected kind of with that line. Kansas, they played Nevada, and I have a couple buddies that went to Kansas that are like, we're smoking Nevada. Of course you should smoke Nevada. They're down at half. Probably should have lost. They looked pretty bad against Nevada, which is not good. BYU coming off not the type of game where you're riding a high, but the type of game that gives you confidence. Where the only thing for me is 8.5 feels just 2-3 points too high on that spread. So just from a statistical value standpoint,
the value is on the
plus. I love it +8.5, but I do think Kansas will win just because I think Lawrence is going to be fired up. Start a Big 12 play, and Kansas actually has something to root for. So of course the fans are going to go crazy. So I think Kansas wins, but.
Yeah, I'm definitely not betting that, but I also think Kansas wins as well. Oregon State at Washington State, another ranked matchup. Oregon State, the 14th, quietly the 14th team in the country, and then 21 Washington State. I like Oregon State in this one. And
I don't, but go on.
Is it because you hate DJU, or is it because
but that's a little bonus
you love Washington State? I do. I think Oregon State's defense is going to raise some hell. I think Damian Martinez, I don't think they will need to rely on DJU to win this game. I think a mixture of him and Damian Martinez, I think, is going to put Washington State in a place where they need to play very good, almost perfect football. And I think if Oregon State can force 1 or 2 turnovers, I think that'll be the ball game. So give me the Beavers in this one.
This is my favorite pick of the week, maybe my favorite game of the week. but I have Washington State because and really it's becoming a little bit of a bias because I watched a lot of film on like Cam Ward because I was like, I don't really know much about Cam Ward. Where did he come from? Blah, blah, blah. And I looked into it, and what I came out with was that he is incredible. Like he is, on par with Michael Penix and some of those other quarterbacks in the Pac-12. Far better than DJU. I think Oregon State's defense is overrated. They haven't been tested by one of these Pac-12 offenses, especially a quarterback like Cam Ward that can run. So in my humble opinion, I think Washington State is going to get whatever they want on offense, and it's going to be a higher scoring game than people expect. Final score something like 56-35. I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked if that was the final score.
Fair.
Give me Washington State.
Way over then.
Well, that would be a nuts final score. But like, if I looked or was watching and it got to there, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense.
Fair enough. All right, I think we can both agree that this is the game of the weekend.
Yep.
Number 6, Ohio State going into number 9, Notre Dame, going into South Bend. College game day is going to be there. Pat McAfee's show is going to be there. Not sure who the guest picker is going to be yet. Notre Dame is a 3-point underdog at home under Marcus Freeman. Notre Dame has had a little bit of ups and downs in the Marcus Freeman era, but the loss to Marshall stung, the loss to Stanford stung, but they played Ohio State well last year in the Horseshoe. Here's the thing that Notre Dame hasn't had maybe in decades, and that is Sam motherfucking Hartman. Sam Hartman is currently one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in college football. You could put him up there with Michael Penix. You could put him up there with Caleb Williams. And then I think, third right now in terms of how he is playing currently, Sam Hartman's got to be up there. It's been unbelievable. Their explosive offensive plays have been electric. Their running game with Audric Estime has looked lights out. They have been able to run the ball all over every opponent they've played all year. They've run at will. The defense has forced turnovers. Their kicker has a goddamn boot. Notre Dame at home in prime time. We haven't had a major win like this in years. I'm going to say the COVID game but even then Trevor Lawrence was out, so people like to put an asterisk on that.
Still a big win. But yeah,
still a phenomenal win. But it's been a while since we've had a game like this. Since we've had a game against one of the prima nocta teams in college football. And I think Saturday night, Notre Dame is going to beat the shit out of the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're going to beat them up and down the field. Give me the Irish by 2 touchdowns. And people will put Sam Heisman as the front runner for the Heisman race.
Sam Heisman.
I said Sam Heisman, didn't I? Oops, my bad.
No, but that's
Sam Hartman.
People are gonna
but it's gonna be Sammy Heisman.
Sammy Heisman. Who
put in your bets now.
I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. I was ready to take Notre Dame by like 2 touchdowns before Ohio State kind of woke up a little bit last week.
Yep.
But I still think that Notre Dame is the better team, and this. Kind of relative, I guess there's more equal talent field in college football. Yep. People are getting so confused because they're used to saying, well, Notre Dame's good, but Ohio State's just unbelievable. You know what I mean? Now it's like all these teams are pretty similar. You know what I mean? Yep. And Sam Hartman's a beast. Audric Estime, I think both of them are in the Heisman contention. Yep. And being at home, I think makes the difference because, you got to play him last year when, you didn't have Sam Hartman and Marcus Freeman was kind of figuring it out. Now you look really well put together and you get to play at home against an Ohio State team who got worse. So the game last year was pretty close anyway. So give me Notre Dame. I love it. I actually love that pick. I'm going to slam it.
Yeah. To be a little more real, this is going to be a phenomenal game. I think what this game comes down to is essentially kind of 2 facets. Offensively, Notre Dame has to maintain control of the football. You have to do that both in time of possession. You have to be able to run if you can't run the football, I don't give a shit how good Sam Hartman is. You have to be able to maintain time of possession against this Ohio State team, and you cannot turn the ball over. Like, Sam Hartman hasn't thrown an interception all year. That needs to remain the case. You cannot turn the ball over against this Ohio State team. Offensively, I think the other thing to this game is Ohio State is going to unleash their weapons. They're going to show everything that they've got. They're going to unleash Marvin Harrison Jr. They're going to unleash Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson. These guys are going to get their run, and they're going to have big plays. This Ohio State offense is, for better or for worse, it's one of the best in the country. And I expect that to still be the case. You have to limit that. You cannot if you get to a 3rd and 7, on your 40-yard line, and then you let up a 45-yard play to Marvin Harrison Jr., it's going to break your back. You know what I mean? Like that's a spirit breaker. So that I'm gonna call it that. You cannot get your spirit broken by Ohio State big plays, because if you do, it's going to be very difficult for that defense all night. I think Notre Dame's secondary is the best part of that defense. I think they're very deep at corner. They've been able to make plays. We're going to have to put pressure on McCord. McCord has not had great pressure put on him all season yet. They've played Youngstown State, Indiana, and Western Kentucky. He hasn't been put under pressure, both physically under pressure by having players in his face when he's trying to make big throws, but he also hasn't had to make big-time throws yet, like down a score or trying to score going into a half. Like, he hasn't had to do that yet. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a phenomenal game, start to finish. This very well could be the best college football game of the year.
I agree completely. I think it'll be pretty close. A lot of fireworks, a lot of big plays. I do think Kyle McCord is not him. So I think, like, when you have great receivers, in order to actually make them look good, you need a quarterback that can get them the ball. So I think I'm not as worried about Marvin and Egbuka, going off. Just maybe a chunk play here and there, maybe I wouldn't be shocked if there's like a 70-yard touchdown to Marvin Harrison or something, because that shit can happen when you have dynamic players like that. But I don't think it's going to be like that Jackson Smith and Jigba game where he had 20 catches for 400 yards. You know?
Yeah. That was just bonkers.
Right. So it should be really, really, really good, close. But I like Notre Dame. Yep.
Let's talk about another game with a bunch of explosive offense. Iowa and Penn State. Iowa scored 41 points. Props to Iowa and Brian Ferentz. They did it. Yeah. You did it, buddy, against Western Michigan. You had to run up the score in the fourth quarter to do it.
Kirk, good for you, man.
But I do think this game is going to be exciting. It's the whiteout, so there's always going to be some fireworks. The over-under is 41, which is very low. Penn State's a 14-point favorite. If I had to bet this game, I would probably take Iowa. 14's a lot of points against that great Iowa defense. But I think more than anything, this is what?
That means you can get – so Penn State's 14-point favorite and the over-under is 41. That means they're expecting Iowa to get 13 points, so that the Iowa over-under team total is 13.
I will double-check, but give me your thoughts on this game while I'm taking a look.
Well, I'll just say – I'm pretty sure it's going to be that, or if not close, which I love, because if they have to get 25 points a game on average, they cannot score 13. That would be catastrophic. They have to score more than 13. Also, 13 is not that hard to get to. So I would love that bet. That would immediately jump into my favorite bets. But, this is a game, like I said earlier, I'd love to be there for the atmosphere, but, I don't care. Iowa's just so freaking Iowa still. I don't I have to watch it, I think, just because I need to watch Penn State. I haven't really watched them yet. But I'm not pumped for it by any means.
Yeah, I think this has an opportunity to be Drew Aller's statement game, because I think people do respect Iowa's defense and Kirk Ferentz, and if Penn State goes out there and drops 35 on Iowa in a solid win, like in Happy Valley, I think that really that puts a hey, we out here, we back up kind of like message to Ohio State and Michigan. It's like, hey, it's not a 2-dog race anymore. Like, we're here to figure it out. But the team total for Iowa is 12.5.
Yeah, that's insane. That is so low. Like, oh man, maybe that's a trap. But like, if you have it in mind that they have to score 25 on average, 12, and teams never even score 11 or 12, right? So you're basically saying they have to score more than 10.
13 or 14, yeah.
They have to score more than 10 points. That would be so bad if they didn't. So, yeah, I guess you never know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, assuming they're just going to do what they need to do because it is Iowa and that offense thinks. But, yeah. So we'll move on.
Heading into Memphis and Missouri, Battle of the Tigers here along the river. I think this is going to be a really good game. Missouri has an opportunity here to make a little bit of a statement that Kansas State wasn't just a one-time thing, because that game came down to the wire on a 61-yard field goal. Like that was a nuts on the table. Fun fact, the kicker who kicked that ball went to high school in the town that I currently live in. So
wow,
my wife teaches for that school district.
So he's like a town legend then for sure now.
Yeah, which is crazy. Which also the Tigers. So
yeah, a
lot of connecting the dots here. That being said, Missouri -6.5. I'm going to stay away from this.
Trap.
I think they have absolutely have an opportunity to come out flat here. That being said, the one thing that I feel like is a little more consistent than offense is a really damn good defense, and Missouri does have a really damn good defense. So I'm going to take Missouri to win. However, I expect this game to be a tight one.
Yeah, I'm taking Memphis. Kind of, maybe this is a little like I think the SEC is worse than they are, but I feel like they're just so desperate for one of their teams that don't necessarily, aren't ranked often, right? They need one of their underwhelming teams to come out of nowhere so they can be like, see, the SEC is still the SEC. And I think people are going to be jumping all over Missouri, especially on a 6.5-point spread, where it's against a group of 5 team at home. And Missouri just beat a ranked Big 12 team. I feel like the spread should be more than that, which is hence the trap. But it's not like a stay away trap. It's like I want to take Memphis trap because I don't think Missouri looked very good before that Kansas State game. I think they, got up for that game. Again, crazy. But when you win on a 61-yard field goal like that, you're riding a high and you're not good enough to like sleep. It's kind of like a Texas thing where I think they might just sleep a little bit. Memphis is going to come in there and at least cover the spread. Like my favorite bet isn't Memphis money line; it's Memphis spread. But I am going to take Memphis for game picks just because I do like that.
I like it. So speaking of Kansas State, UCF has to go into Kansas State. Kansas State's a 6.5-point favorite. Over-unders at 60. I like Kansas State in this game. Bounce back. Chris Kleiman's too good of a head coach to let up a stinker 2 games in a row. Like, I understand losing the game at an SEC opponent. Like, that's tough. But they're not going to lose at home, not to UCF.
No, I mean, that's a good point. I kind of, like, before the season started, I had UCF winning this game. I had UCF sort of making a little bit of an underrated run to, like, the top 15 in the rankings. That's still very, very possible. I do think they've looked good. They beat a decent Boise State team, not by much, granted, but on the road. They're 3-0. And this is their time to, like, enter Big 12 play. For the first time they're in Power 5 play, they can kind of be like, we're here, right? We deserve to be here. That's what I was saying in August. I'm going to stick with it now. I'm going to go with UCF. Although, from what you said, I kind of don't like it. So I'm not going to, like, bet it. But for game picks, yeah, I'm going to go with UCF.
Fair enough. And then finally, Texas and Baylor. This game's in Waco, so a little weird. This line has moved quite a bit. It's moved from 14.5 to 15.5, and I think it's going to move again. That being said, if I'm a gambling man, I would take Baylor with the points. However, Texas wins this game. They're just too good. And I think Baylor might actually kind of not be it. I think I might have been a little too early on the Dave Aranda hype train.
I don't know. We don't know yet. I think that might be true. I think this is where we'll find out if that's true. I think the line is kind of fishy because Baylor is like they're not 500. Do they have a win or are they 0-3? I don't know what they did last week. They might be 0-3.
Baylor won against Long Island.
Okay, so they're 1-2, but I think most people know they're 1-2 because it was like one of the biggest week one upsets and blah blah blah. So I think people are going to say like, "Oh, Texas, 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 give me Texas." But this is a game where Baylor, if they aren't as bad as we think, at home against Texas, their Super Bowl of this season. Yeah, I think I would like Baylor spread as well, but I'm not going to touch it, and I'm going to go with Texas. So sort of the same mindset as you.
Yep. So we're going to do just very quickly a couple hot opinions, red hot takes. So these come from my Instagram. I put a little poll out. Give me your hottest college football takes. Wanted to read a couple off here. But if you guys want your stuff to be read on the podcast, number one, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That's the easiest way for me to see your stuff. Comment on these videos. That's the easiest way for us to see your stuff. And then that way we know, what to talk about. We want to hear from you guys. But if you don't want to do it on YouTube, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and comment and like our stuff. And we will respond to you. Even if we don't do it in the podcast, I'll damn sure respond to my comments. Nick, I know you respond to your stuff as well. Whether that's making a video or just replying to the comments. So make sure you guys are interacting on social media. That being said, the first follower hot take, the Oklahoma Sooners are making the college football playoff. Nick, how hot is that take?
I think that's very hot. I think that's probably a little too hot for my liking. But I guess I would love to hear his reasoning. They've looked fine. I think they are flying a little bit under the radar. They held a pretty good offense in SMU to 11 points. Yep. I think that's impressive. Brent Venables can coach a really good defense when he wants to. But I think they're probably just a year away. Jackson Arnold coming in is going to be really good. I think you have a reason to be excited for Oklahoma, but this year I think that's a pretty hot take.
So real quickly, just something to think about. They've won their first three games 73-0, 28-11, and then 66-17. Their next two games are Cincinnati, who just lost to Miami of Ohio, and Iowa State, who just lost to the University of Ohio before the Red River Shootout, and Texas. So we have a pretty good opportunity, I think.
Probably top 10 by that big game there, which will be awesome. But
should be very.
If he's right, if whoever commented that's right, I'll tip my cap. Tell him to. Honestly, I'll give him a prize.
Yep, it should be very fun. Another comment: Washington winning the Natty. We talked about Washington being absolutely slept on, but goddamn, they look good.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Do you think they can make the playoff again? Because people forget, they're the only Pac-12 team to make the college football playoff.
Yeah, they were in 2016. They played Alabama, I believe, and kind of
Michigan State.
No. Michigan State was 2015. Washington definitely didn't play Michigan State because that implies.
You're right. In the final. You're right. They played Bama. You're right. 2016.
But yeah, so. I don't hate that at all. I think they've looked really good. They've also been tested, right? They were battle tested out of conference, and they didn't even have a close game. They crushed everyone. They cruised through as if they were playing FCS schools, but they're playing these big name schools. So just for that reason alone, I like that take. they got to get past that gauntlet of a schedule in the Pac-12.
All right, and then the last one that I have here, 3 new teams will make the college football playoff. And I think it's perfectly possible. Here's the 3 teams I think it would be. I think it would be Texas. I think it would be Florida State. And I think it would be Penn State would be my 3 new teams who have never made it before. That would be my 3.
USC. It's got to be USC. I can see USC and Texas. I actually think one, I would love so dearly to have USC Texas play in like the Rose Bowl in the semifinal or something. Holy shit, would that be must-watch television? That would be amazing. But those teams could be new. Sadly, Washington not, but I don't hate Penn State. I hope Florida State's not. Notre Dame's been in it. Michigan obviously has been in it. So, yeah, I guess the other options, Oregon's been in it. So, I guess there's not that many options of teams that like could sneak in there, you know?
Yep, I don't.
But it's
Penn not State, a crazy take. It's not that hot of a take, I don't think.
It's not. Somehow it's not a hot take, but there are a lot of teams that don't fit that category. So,
yep.
But I like that take. That's like an interesting thought, you know? I feel like that didn't cross my mind as a possibility.
Yep.
But
let's roll into the best bets here. I got a couple. Oklahoma State plus, rapid fire. Oklahoma State plus 3.5. I think they get the bounce. They're not as bad as what they looked against South Alabama. They play Iowa State, who Matt Campbell rattled, like tried to fight a fan. Iowa State's 3-6 against the spread as a favorite since 2022, and they just lost to Ohio. So give me Oklahoma State there. I'm taking Virginia under 18.5 total points. It's hitting 2 of 3 games. Either a true freshman quarterback is going to start, or Tony Muskett, who has missed the last 2 weeks due to injury, is going to start. And NC State has a really good defense. Like that, they are a great defensive team. So Virginia under 18.5, and then South Carolina minus 6.5. They play Mississippi State at home. Mississippi State was obliterated at home. They now have to go on the road. Mississippi State offense is last in the following categories: third down conversion percentage, yards per game, passing yards per game, plays of 10 plus yards. It is the least explosive offense in the SEC. And then you have to beat South Carolina, who is an explosive offense.
No, I like that.
Give me South Carolina minus 6.5. Yep. And then just for Fresno State minus 27.5. They played Kent State. Kent State's ass. And then Notre Dame first quarter money line. I actually do like this bet quite a bit. It's plus money. You get the home team with the opportunity to score first at plus money, or the opportunity to win the first quarter at plus money. I like that quite a bit, especially with how Notre Dame has constructed their offense. So yeah, give me yours.
Okay. I like some of those. Don't like some, but definitely going to add South Carolina to my slip. Didn't really think about it, but I like your reasoning a lot.
Yep.
I kind of spoke about it, but Washington State money line is on my best bet list. Yes, I'm an Oregon State hater, but I also am more of a Washington State believer. Kind of out of nowhere. Weren't expecting it, but Cam Ward is him. Memphis plus 6.5. I already went over all of this as well. Same with BYU plus 8.5. The only other one that I have is TCU SMU over 63.5. When you close your eyes, can you imagine that game being in the 20s? Like, because I cannot. I close my eyes and I'm like, both teams get to 30. That's almost a guarantee. And if the over-under is 63.5, then you're basically just betting that. So that's more of a gut call. But a lot of the times my gut call bets are better than my reasoning bets. So that's going to be on my slip for sure. I've been doing pretty well with my CFP bets. I'm like up 10 units plus, I think, right now. Riding high. So if you've made it this far, feel free to tail me. I post a lot of my picks on Instagram.
Yep, I'm going to hop on your stuff because my stuff has been absolute trash. So I'm going to ride with you on these as well. So because none of them contradict mine explicitly. So I'm down for that. But All right. If you guys like this content, make sure like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. Like the video. I want to see how many people have actually made it to this point of the podcast. So if you are up to this point, like the video. That would be huge for us. I cannot wait for this Saturday, man. We're going to have a hell of a lot to talk about next week. So we will see you guys then.